of like, it's easier to book certain people in the beginning because they feel, why not? Like, who the hell's going to listen to this?
Right.
Then
it ends up in the paper, in the Sun,
right,
in the Post.
Right. Which I'm okay with. I'd rather be feared than liked, I guess is the word.
And then, of course, the Sun will get it all wrong.
I always say to people.
They will misconstrue everything.
The quotes are always right. The headline, don't come to me.
Salacious.
Yes. When people call me mad, I'm like, do you realize I don't work for the Sun? Like, I did not make those words on the headline. Right. You have to call the person at the Sun and have a word with them. Now, when it says quote, I guarantee you, I haven't listened, that everything you said, according to their legal department, is word for word what you said.
So who else would you like to have on the podcast?
So Shannon's already, I would love to have Paris Hilton.
She was my neighbor for many years.
I think you told me
Hamptons.
this.
Yeah, her house was right on the corner. Her little brothers used to come over and play with my daughter.
You told me this. And I would love to have Misha Barton from the OC.
Now, have you had any of I've not watched the new RHONY, but I see little snippets of it on Instagram.
Have
you had any of them?
I had Sai De Silva in the beginning. Her team reached out. So it was right before it aired. So there wasn't much to go on. Mm-hmm. We did it in this very room here. I got the impression that this is just my own take. Right. She didn't say. I got the impression, and now we're past that Bravo said to all, because, we're on the show. Bravo has a lot to say about what to say.
Yes, they do.
I got the impression, and no, she did not say this, that all the girls were instructed, go ahead and answer questions about the OGs if you have to, but the goal is to distance ourselves. It's a new dawn. It's a new day. Because she really, I just could tell. I mean, of course, with the show's not even on, we have a lot of questions about the OGs. Right. That's how we relate this. I mean, now it would be different if I interviewed her, but I just got the impression, I can't explain why.
What do you think of the new cast?
Well, I have really fallen a little behind myself on this show.
Say it isn't so.
I really watch things for work these days. Mm-hmm. These listeners watch more of this stuff than I do.
Do you miss the old cast?
On the TV?
Yeah. Or I was getting tired already.
I feel like Housewives in general is a little bit played out for me.
Right. I was hoping. Now, like I said, I can't have a strong opinion because I've not watched it and only what I've seen on Instagram. But the few scenes that I have seen, to me, it's just a repeat of the Mean Girls from the original RHONY. So I was hoping when I saw who they were casting, I thought, oh, these are smart, independent women, young, pretty, diverse group. And I thought this really could be what that show needs. But from what I'm seeing, they're just having stupid fights and yelling at one another and making a big to-do about nothing. Am I wrong?
No, I think and it's light. They don't want toxic anymore, Bravo. They want light fights over cheese and everything else.
Well, I mean, they had enough toxic to, join ISIS. Right?
They did. Yes. Yeah, no, it's the same thing. So, I don't know. It's a little, for me, there's very,
you think it'll make it? Will it last?
You know what it is? Everyone's saying the ratings are so bad, I just look at it I'm just going to round up. Luann was at 1 million-ish, probably a little less. Sonia was 1 million-ish, maybe less, but close. Ramona was 1 million. That's $3 million. We had Leah at 200,000. That's 3.2. And Ebony says that she upped her 60K to 100. So what is that? 3.3 million?
Ebony was on
one season.
One season. No, she didn't up it. I'm not buying that.
You're not?
No, she signed a contract.
Carol Razawell said. Well, I mean, before she signed the contract, she said she upped it.
I don't believe it.
Carol Razawell said that too. But okay, let's just 60,000. Let's round out $3.3 million for 700 something thousand viewers. Now we have 400,000 viewers, but we have 60 times 6, 360,000 in salary. So when everyone says the new RHONY is a total failure, these fans, people failure and 400,000, I'm I don't know. I think it's a success in Bravo's eyes because there's no talk about racism. There's no alcoholics in the group. There's no real family fights. There's no private investigators. There's no
a lot. Let's talk about what's going on with Bravo and
Bethenny.
The
reality
Bethenny
reckoning.
Wants to unionize, and there are some lawsuits going on, right?
I just had Mark Garagos on this very podcast. It's a good one. The lawyer. I mean, a lot of people have issues with Mr. Garagos. They point out certain things they don't like about him.
Right. So, I mean, even though everyone signs contracts that they cannot sue, there's a question of whether or not they provided a safe work environment, and I would say they did not. Right? There were girls with drinking problems, and instead of supporting sobriety, they were supplying only alcohol. They wanted the girls drunk. They wanted the train wreck. Right? I think there were some of the women with, and excuse me for using the word girls, I don't know if that's politically correct, but
I mean, I'm not exactly politically correct these days, so who knows?
People on the show who struggle with mental health. I think that there is some culpability on Bravo's part and with the producers that they led to the destruction for a lot of these women.
I think so too. I mean, listen, I've interviewed them all, so I've heard stories here on this podcast of people. I've heard 2 false imprisonment stories that I can think of. You know, like if I said you can't leave this room, I know that's false imprisonment.
Right.
So I've heard of 2 stories where they're like, filming is not done. You are not leaving. One where the door was bolted and the other one where they took away someone's car keys so they couldn't drive away.
Unless they were drunk and they took away the keys. But I mean, a couple of times, I had done a scene with one of them that were so drunk.
Sonia or Leah?
Sonia. And when the cameras went down and the producers, the showrunners, whatever, they were leaving, and she couldn't walk out of the bar. I had to basically carry her into a cab, get her into her building. The doorman had to support her. And I had said to them the next day, "Aren't you a little worried about Sonia?" I said, "Don't you think that there needs to be some type of an intervention or something?" And nobody paid attention to it. Nobody cared. And I really thought, gosh, one day this is going to be a really bad headline. And I always thought that she was lovely. But my heart broke for her because she went through a lot in her life and she was definitely drinking a lot. And I think that RHONY absolutely loved drunk Sonia. And otherwise they didn't think she was as funny.
I would agree with all that. So
right.
What? Like and I could see all that too. Like you said to producers, like FYI, I just want to let you know this.
Absolutely.
I had to get her home.
I said, you guys pack up and leave, and this girl could walk in the street